Great Abara, please, free me from this curse. I just want to live freely, to love, without fear.
Naya, I have heard your plea. The curse will be lifted, but remember, your true test begins now. Lose your compassion, and the darkness will return, stronger than ever.
Once upon a time, in the peaceful village of Karu, nestled amidst lush green hills and crystal-clear streams, there lived a young woman named Naya. She was not only famous for the freshest fruits and vegetables she sold at the market, but also for her gentle smile, as radiant as the morning sun, brightening the days of everyone around her. Naya was unlike any other girl in the village. Her long black hair flowed like a cascading stream, and her deep eyes seemed to hold the secrets of the universe, captivating anyone who dared to look into them. Each time she appeared, the market came alive, not just with the bustling of customers, but with admiring glances and murmurs from the young men enchanted by her presence. One man whispered, "Naya, she must be a gift from the gods. How can someone be both so beautiful and so kind?" Another boulder called out, "Naya, you're as radiant as the sunrise. Would you marry me?" But Naya would always respond with the same gentle smile. Her lips curved perfectly, yet her reply remained unchanged. "Thank you, but I'm not ready." Despite her popularity, no one in the village knew where she lived. Naya would appear early each morning, carrying baskets of the freshest fruits and vegetables, as if they had been plucked from a mystical garden unseen by anyone. By the time the sun dipped behind the hills, she would quietly disappear, leaving the market before the darkness could envelop the village. The villagers began whispering, not just about her beauty, but about the mystery surrounding her. "Where does she come from?" asked an old woman sitting at the corner of the market, her eyes never leaving Naya's retreating figure. Could she be from the faraway hills, the ones no one dares to explore? Speculations spread like wildfire. With each unanswered question, Naya's allure grew even more enigmatic. Some claimed she was an angel sent to aid humanity. Others whispered she might be descended from the spirits of the sacred forest nearby, a place believed to be home to mystical beings. Regardless of the stories spun about her, no one dared to approach Naya directly. There was something about her, something that inspired both admiration and an unspoken fear. One day, a young flower seller, innocent and curious, asked, "Naya, where do you live?" "I've never seen you in our village." Naya crouched down, gently brushing the child's hair with a kindness that seemed almost otherworldly. "Take good care of your flowers," she said softly. "They will lead you to magical things." Her vague response only deepened the villagers' curiosity. Some began secretly following her as she left the market, but each time they lost her at the edge of the eastern forest. That forest was rumored to hold pathways leading deep into sacred lands where even sunlight struggled to penetrate. No one in Karu truly knew who Naya was, but one thing was certain: she was different. Each morning when Naya arrived, it felt as if the village awoke to new life. Yet, when she departed, she took a piece of that light with her, leaving behind an emptiness and an insatiable curiosity. "Is she even human?" an elderly man wondered aloud, his eyes closing as though trying to recall a long-lost memory. Naya never answered the villagers' questions, nor did she concern herself with their gossip. She continued her daily routine, cloaking herself in an invisible shroud of secrecy that protected her from the prying eyes of the world. But deep in her heart, Naya knew she couldn't hide forever. One day, the truth would come to light, and when it did, the entire village of Karu would never be the same. One bright morning, as the golden sunlight poured over Karu's bustling marketplace, where laughter mingled with the aroma of fresh fruits, a young merchant named Kiran appeared. He was from a distant village, renowned for his sharp intuition and keen eye for uncovering true value. That day, he came searching for the finest fruits to take on his long journey. As Kiran strolled through the crowded stalls, something unusual happened. Amid the lively chatter of the marketplace, His gaze was inexplicably drawn to a graceful figure arranging golden ripe mangoes on a small stall. It was Naya. In that moment, the world around him seemed to fall silent. Naya was unlike anyone Kieran had ever met. Her long black hair flowed like silk under the sunlight, her bright eyes sparkled as if holding an entire galaxy, and her gentle smile carried an air of mystery that was both soothing and intriguing. Kieran's heart began to race, its rhythms suddenly out of sync. Summoning his courage, he stepped forward and offered her a warm smile.
Hello, I'm Kieran. These mangoes look incredible, but they still pale in comparison to your beauty.
His bold words turned heads, drawing curious glances from nearby vendors. But contrary to the shy reaction one might expect, Naya let out a soft laugh, the sound light and musical. Thank you, Kieran. I'm Naya. What can I help you with today? Her gentle reply only deepened Kieran's fascination. They talked for a while, mostly about mundane things like the price of fruit or the village's weather. Yet, for Kieran, every second spent near Naya felt like a precious gift he wasn't ready to let go of. From that day on, Kieran became a regular at the Karoo marketplace. Every morning he would show up, not because he needed fruit, but just to see Naya. Even on days when he had nothing to buy, he invented reasons to linger at her stall.
I have a long trip ahead today, but maybe I need more mangoes. Naya, do you think I should pick these oranges or try that new batch of melons over there?
Naya always smiled at his seemingly trivial questions, and though she didn't say it, she began looking forward to his visits. Kieran's presence brought a warmth to her day that she hadn't felt before. Still, behind her smile, a part of Naya held back. She knew there were secrets she could never share, even with someone she was beginning to care about. Kieran wasn't just captivated by Naya's beauty. It was the enigma surrounding her that kept pulling him closer. He noticed that no one in the village could answer even the simplest questions about her. One day, while they were chatting, he tried to ask directly, Naya, you always show up here with the most wonderful fruits, but I've never heard anyone say where you live. Could you share that with me? Naya hesitated, her gaze shifting slightly before she answered calmly. I live nearby, Kieran. There's nothing particularly special about it. Her concise reply only fueled Kieran's curiosity. He felt as though an invisible wall stood between them, something he couldn't breach, yet couldn't walk away from. Over time, their relationship evolved beyond fleeting conversations. Kieran began sharing stories of his journeys through far-off villages, of dusty roads and the colourful characters he'd met along the way. Naya listened intently, occasionally laughing softly at his humorous anecdotes. In return, Naya spoke about life at the market and the various villages she encountered, though she skillfully avoided personal topics. Every moment they spent together warmed Naya's heart, but beneath her smiles, an unspoken fear lingered. She wondered, if Kieran knew the truth about me, would he still look at me with such kindness? Kieran, on the other hand, found his feelings for Naya deepening. It was no longer mere admiration or curiosity. He wanted to be by her side, to protect her, to understand everything about her. Yet, the closer he tried to get, the more he sensed a formidable secret keeping them apart. Can I ever break through this wall? He often wondered. Or is Naya destined to remain an unreachable dream? These questions haunted Kieran, though he couldn't have known that Naya's secret was far greater than anything he could imagine. And when that secret was finally revealed, it wouldn't just change his life, it would alter the fate of the entire village of Karoo forever. As the sun sank behind the distant mountains, the bustling marketplace of Karoo began to quiet. Naya carefully rearranged her baskets of ripe fruit, preparing to leave. The air grew still, broken only by the rhythmic chirping of crickets as night began to drape its shadow over the village. Nearby, Kieran stood watching her as he often did. But tonight, an unfamiliar feeling stirred within him, a deep, unshakable urge to protect her. After a few moments of hesitation, he stepped forward and spoke, his voice steady yet gentle.
Naya, let me walk you home. It's late and it's not safe to go alone.
Naya looked up, her eyes flickering with surprise before softening into her usual calm demeanour. I'm used to walking alone, she said with a faint smile. But if you insist, I won't say no. Though her response was kind, a wave of unease rose within her. She knew all too well that the path they were about to take was no ordinary road. They set off down the narrow path leading out of the village, skirting the edge of the dense eastern forest. Pale moonlight filtered through the canopy above, casting eerie shadows that danced across the ground. The chill of the evening wind carried faint, whispering sounds as if the forest itself were alive with secrets. Kieran, sensing the weight of the silence, tried to break the tension. This path is beautiful, but strange. I've never heard anyone mention it before. Naya chuckled softly, but said nothing. Her gaze remained fixed ahead, deliberately avoiding his curious eyes. Suddenly, a shiver ran down Kieran's spine. A peculiar sensation gripped him, as if unseen eyes were following their every move. He stopped and glanced back, only to see the encroaching darkness behind them. Then, something icy, cold as death, brushed against his shoulder. He spun around, his breath hitching, but there was nothing there. Just the rustling branches swaying in the wind. Kieran inhaled deeply, trying to calm the pounding of his heart. Naya, he stammered, his voice trembling. Did you feel something just now? Naya turned, her expression serene, as if nothing had happened. Don't worry, Kieran, she said calmly. You're just imagining things. Her composure did little to ease his anxiety. In fact, her unshakable calm only deepened his unease. The deeper they ventured into the forest, the heavier the air became. The dry leaves crunching beneath their feet seemed unnaturally loud, as if every step they took was being listened to. The wind picked up, carrying with it a sound like a distant, mournful sigh. Kieran could bear it no longer. He stopped abruptly, his voice betraying his fear. I'm sorry, Naya.
But I think I should turn back. It's too dark, and this place feels wrong.
Naya halted, her calm gaze meeting his. She smiled faintly, but something in that smile sent a chill through him.
If you're scared, I won't stop you. Sleep well, Kieran.
Her words were gentle, yet they echoed in his mind like a warning. Nodding quickly, Kieran turned and began walking briskly back toward the village. His footsteps echoed in the stillness, each one sounding as if he were being pursued by an unseen shadow. When Kieran finally reached his home, his shirt was soaked with sweat despite the night's chill. He slammed the door shut, leaning against it as he struggled to steady his breathing. But no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't shake the image of Naya's tranquil eyes or the icy touch on his shoulder. That night, Kieran dreamt he was wandering through an ominous forest. The branches above twisted into claw-like shapes, reaching for him. In the distance, he saw Naya, but her gaze was no longer gentle. Her eyes had become deep, endless voids, pulling him into a bottomless abyss. The next morning, Kieran didn't go to the market, nor the day after, or the day after that. The villagers began to whisper, "Where's Kieran? He never misses a day at the market." Do you think he discovered something about Naya? But no one knew the truth. That night on the forest path, Kieran had felt the presence of something that didn't belong to this world. From that moment on, he never dared set foot near the Karoo marketplace again. Meanwhile, Naya continued her daily routine as if nothing had happened. Her smile remained warm, her gaze calm. Yet for those who looked closely, a faint sadness occasionally flickered in her eyes. She knew why Kieran hadn't returned, but she said nothing. After all, she understood better than anyone that the forest wasn't just a path she walked every day. It was the gateway to her deepest secret. A secret she could never reveal. And for those who dared cross its threshold, they would face a truth far beyond what this world was prepared to comprehend. In the days following Kieran's sudden absence from the market, the village of Karu buzzed with speculation. Kieran had always been a cheerful, familiar face, showing up daily with a radiant smile. Now, without explanation, he had vanished. He used to buy fruit from Naya every day, but now he's nowhere to be seen. Do you think something happened to him? Maybe he discovered something about Naya. She's always been different, hasn't she? Questions swept through the village like a whispering wind, carried from one home to another. Yet, amidst the endless murmurs, only Naya knew the truth. Naya was not like the other villagers in Karu. She came from a place no one dared to speak of, the mystical forest beyond the mountains. This forest, according to whispered legends, was home to strange beings with supernatural powers. But what no one knew was that it was also Naya's home. Her family wasn't human. They were beings with the ability to shift forms, living in harmony with nature and the magical energy of the forest. Naya, through a unique and rare gift, was the only one in her family who could maintain a human form at all times. This ability allowed her to leave the forest and venture into Karu, where she longed to live as an ordinary human. But life among humans was not as simple as she had hoped. Since she was young, Naya's parents had warned her. Naya, you must not grow close to humans. Our world and theirs are far too different. If they discover the truth, it will bring danger, not just to you, but to all of us. Naya always listened, but deep in her heart she yearned for more. She wanted freedom, to experience life as humans did, to love, to make friends, and to enjoy the simple joys of daily life. When she met Kieran, a spark of light ignited in her world. He was genuine, kind, and made her feel less alone in a world full of barriers. But her connection with Kieran also began to worry her family. When Naya's parents learned about Kieran, their worry turned to anger.
Have you forgotten our warnings, Naya? Humans cannot accept what they do not understand. You're putting all of us at risk.
Naya tried to explain, her voice filled with quiet desperation. Kieran isn't like the others. He's kind and won't harm us. But her words did little to soothe their fears. To protect the family's secret, they decided to act. On the night Kieran walked with Naya through the forest, it was her parents who conjured the icy magical hand that touched his shoulder, a warning meant to frighten him into staying away. They hoped it would be enough to keep him from returning. Naya couldn't stop her parents, but the sadness in her heart only grew. Kieran was truly gone. He no longer came to the market, no longer waited for her each morning. Psst. With each passing day, her smile became more strained, her eyes reflecting a profound sorrow that no one in the village could understand. How can I live as a human? She whispered to herself, staring toward the forest where her family resided. If even the right to love is denied to me. Naya understood that her parents only wanted to protect her, but their protection felt like a cage, trapping her deepest desires to live freely and authentically. As Kieran disappeared from the villagers' conversations, Naya's secret remained, weighing heavily on her shoulders. She knew it was only a matter of time before the truth would surface. When that day came, everything she knew would change forever. Late at night, Naya would stand silently at the edge of the forest, her gaze fixed on the path Kieran had once walked. She couldn't stop herself from wondering, is he afraid of me? Or does he understand that some things can't be explained yet still deserve to be loved? A cold wind brushed past her, making her shiver. Naya knew the answer wouldn't come easily, but deep in her heart, she held onto a fragile hope that one day she would find a way to bridge the gap between two worlds, a way to no longer have to choose between her family and herself. That night, the sky seemed to sink into an infinite darkness. Even the shimmering starlight couldn't dispel the heavy weight pressing on Naya's heart. She stood at the edge of the path leading deep into the forest, the place where everything began and the source of all her secrets. The trees whispered around her as if offering final words of counsel. But Naya didn't falter. Her steps were light yet deliberate, each crunch of dried leaves beneath her feet echoing like the heartbeat of her resolve. When she reached the clearing, where her family often gathered, the atmosphere shifted. It was no longer the serene stillness of the night, but a charged tension, as if the entire forest were holding its breath. Before her, her parents and siblings emerged in their otherworldly forms. Some bore the fierce features of wolves, while others had great shimmering wings that glistened under the moonlight. Yet in their eyes, there was no hostility, only deep sorrow and faint disappointment. Her father, ever stern and commanding, was the first to speak. His voice, deep and resonant, seemed to meld with the very breath of the forest. "Naya, why have you returned at this hour? You know the warnings we've given you." Naya didn't shy away. She lifted her head, her gaze unwavering, though her heart felt like it was being crushed. "I love all of you," she began, her voice steady but thick with emotion. "But I can't live like this anymore. I want a life of my own. I want freedom." Her mother stepped forward, her gentle eyes shimmering with unshed tears, as though trying to ease her daughter's pain. "Naya, do you understand how harsh the world out there can be? You are part of this forest. If you leave, you will always be an outsider. You will never truly belong among them." Naya felt her chest tighten, but she couldn't turn back now. She had dreamed of freedom for so long, and this was her one chance to make it real. "I know it won't be easy," she admitted, her voice firm despite the tremor in her chest. "But I have to try. I can't live my life in fear. If I don't step outside, how will I ever know if happiness is possible?" Her father sighed, his gaze heavy with unspoken grief. After a long pause, he finally spoke.
"If this is what you want, we won't stop you. But remember, the world out there will never fully accept someone like you. If you face danger, don't return here seeking our protection. You've chosen your path."
His words cut through Naya's heart like a blade, but she held her ground, her determination unshaken. Her mother approached, reaching out to touch Naya's hand. For the first time, Naya felt a faint tremor in her mother's grasp, as if fear were seeping through her fingertips. "Be careful, Naya," she whispered, her voice breaking. "We love you, but out there, they may not be what you hope for." Naya nodded, tears streaming down her cheeks. She embraced her mother one last time, holding on to the warmth of her family, a comfort she knew she would not feel often in the future. "I love you all," she said, her voice hoarse with emotion. "But I have to go." Turning away, Naya walked forward, not daring to look back. She feared that if she did, she might not find the strength to keep moving. Behind her, the whispers of her family blended with the rustling of the wind through the trees. Each step she took away from them made her heart grow heavier. Yet, within her, a flame of hope burned brighter. She didn't know what awaited her in Karoo, but she knew one thing: she would do whatever it took to find happiness. As Naya crossed the boundary of the forest, the moonlight suddenly seemed to shine brighter, illuminating her path. The silence of the night felt almost reverent, as though the world itself were welcoming her into a new chapter of her life. But what Naya didn't realize was that waiting ahead of her were not just trials, but also the harsh truths of living between two worlds, one she belonged to by birth and one she desperately wished to be part of. Will Naya truly find the happiness she has sacrificed so much to pursue? Will the human world embrace her? Or will the secrets she hides drag her into even greater challenges? As the shadows of her past silently loom, can Naya overcome them? Or will her own heart prove to be her greatest trial? Follow along to uncover shocking twists, untold secrets, and an ending you won't see coming. Don't forget to hit follow so you won't miss the next part, more thrilling and captivating than ever. Will Naya truly find the happiness she has sacrificed so much to pursue? Will the human world embrace her? Or will the secrets she hides drag her into even greater challenges? As the shadows of her past silently loom, can Naya overcome them? Or will her own heart prove to be her greatest trial? Follow along to uncover shocking twists, untold secrets, and an ending you won't see coming. Don't forget to hit follow so you won't miss the next part, more thrilling and captivating than ever.